We are going to stick to sports on this episode. I always knew that this time would come. I just didn't know it would come on a Thursday, towards the tail end of the NFL season, neck deep in both college basketball and in the NBA as well. But after watching the Lakers-Mavs game last night, which I hope everybody had the opportunity to watch, the fact that we've arrived at a place where people are calling LeBron James washed is nothing short of just pathetic. 28, 7, and 7 is a career year for every single human being that ever put on a pair of sneakers and played in the NBA. And for LeBron James, it's simply a ho-hum season, and people think he's washed. I will never, ever be able to understand the hatred that this guy, the vitriolic hatred that this guy has received. No other athlete in history has not only lived up to expectations, but shattered them the way that he has. No other athlete in history has ever made such an impact on his community and on the people around him as he has. I don't care what criticism that you have of him in whatever kind of reality that you have chosen for yourself, but for anybody to say that he is not hands down the greatest player of all time just proves you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You probably couldn't hit a jump shot to save your life, and we've evolved. We evolved so much in every other aspect of humanity, but it seems like when it comes to basketball, generations get worse. Players get worse because all of these old senile talking heads are saying how it was in the past, how it was, in my day. Well, in your day, we're talking about people like Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Dale Davis of the Indiana Pacers. The list goes on and on of of players who could not make a roster right now. No team, no chance. A 6'8", 240-pound player that doesn't have any moves in the post is out there to be some sort of an enforcer. That's not the game of basketball. It never has been. And I love, again, all of the, let's call them what they are, limp dicks who could not hit a jumper to save their lives, saying that this game has gotten soft. The athletes in these games, the athletes that are playing right now, are the greatest athletes on earth ever. The pinnacle of athleticism is in the NBA right now. And if you put LeBron in any other era, people like Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, who are saying, let's go Sir Charles, let's go Charles Barkley, who are saying all these things about the type of play and how the game is softer now. No, it's just more skilled than you. And you could not what was he called, the round mound of rebound. He couldn't get one in this league if he tried. And if you put LeBron in any other era, he's larger than every single person. He's 6'9", 270 pounds. And you can even put that up against every defensive end in the NFL, and he's larger than them. And it's to the point where I just laugh that he has a night, and I believe his final stat sheet was 25 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds, and people call that trash. It's truly pathetic, yet truly validating and truly telling from a sports society standpoint that there's actually LeBron fatigue. That when he does retire, which it doesn't look like he is anytime soon, because again, 28, 7, and 7 is a career year for every single person in NBA history. But for him, it's a below average year, and this is the start of his decline. The same people who are saying that said that Tom Brady was washed up 10 years ago, where Tom Brady's had 3 Hall of Fame careers. I could argue LeBron has also had 3 Hall of Fame careers. And that game last night was so much fun. And those are the times when I am so glad that I am a true sports fan, that my fandom is solely on one. I'm very well aware that it's an entertainment industry. That's all this is. It is an entertainment industry. And the TV contracts support that. And there is no greater entertainment than two teams absolutely going at it. And if Luka was playing last night, would have made it so much better. I personally think that Luka's going to be rewriting the record books from now until the end of time. And for all of the teams that passed on him, I just find that kind of funny. But I urge you, I implore you to take whatever honestly ignorant hatred that you have towards this man, and you look at what he's done, you look at what he's accomplished, you look at where he's come from, you look at the expectations, you look at how much he shattered them, and you're going to simply be sad when he's gone. Because if you were a true sports fan, you could see that right now. The other thing, too, as I'm wearing my favorite shirt, obviously, kudos, bravo, Steph Curry, the greatest point guard of all time, and it ain't even close. Magic Johnson went a whole season without hitting a three. Come at me with some other shit than that. You're going to have to come at me with more than Magic Johnson, who could not hit a three to save his life. And he could not keep up with Steph Curry if he tried. Because Steph Curry, what people don't seem to realize is, yes, as much of a great shooter as he is, the mastery of Steph Curry is what he does off the ball. And it is absolutely mind-blowing to see that some people are still saying Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, name any other ones from other eras that you would rather have over Steph, and it's just funny. It's just I will never understand how we can evolve in every single other arena as humanity, and things get more improved. Things are simply better than they were 20 years ago. But when it comes to the NBA, it's people somehow get worse, or the league somehow gets worse, or athletes somehow get worse. I will never understand that. And I was watching it with my 11-month-old son, and it was such a cool experience to see Steph Curry and all the things that were said about him coming into the league by quote-unquote experts. The same experts that can't pick a winner to save their lives. To see what he's done, to see what he's evolved into, and to see that he recognized that in order for him to be as efficient and as effective as he is, there were so many other things about his game that he needed to evolve on and work on, and that's what he did. He always had the shot, but he knew that to get open and to do all that and to become a lot more crafty, that was going to take the work. And that's where his hard work actually paid off. If you look at the percentage, if you go to the, I want to say Uninterrupted, if you go on their page on Instagram, also check out my most recent Instagram post when I got to be on the Levitard show. When they look at all of his threes and where they came from, not only did he redefine what range meant, he has completely changed the game more than any other player besides LeBron. Because what he's been able to do is kind of, I don't want to say common folk because there's nothing common about what he's done, but he's not a physical specimen. He's not this mutant of a human being that can simply out-athleticism or out-athleticize, out-athlete other people on the court. He worked on it, and now he's quick and as fast as hell, and his handle is the most underrated thing in NBA history. But to see how he gets open, to see how he works the screens and the picks and just how he rolls off them and all that, he's truly an artist. And he has mastered the art that is Steph Curry. Now, time for a very controversial take, okay? Do I think Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time? I think he's got the most threes of all time, obviously. But no, I don't. I do not think that Steph Curry, from a very holistic standpoint or perspective, is the best shooter of all time. This guy is. Klay Thompson. And when you look at what Klay has done, well, one, you look at what the Warriors are doing this year without Klay, and the fact that he's going to come back is absolutely frightening to the rest of the NBA. But when you look at what he's done, a record for threes in a game, 14 threes against the Bulls. I believe that was in 2018, right around Halloween. But that's only one of the scoring records that he has. The 60 points in under 30 minutes is something that was to behold, and I was privileged enough to watch it. I also was able to watch the 37 points in a quarter. And because of his size, because he's the size of an outside linebacker, and those guys did not exist in the 70s, 80s, or the 90s, and he can check anybody, the fact that the release point that he has, the setup point that he has, and with his height, I will take Klay Thompson over any other shooter in history, especially if it's Game 6, because what he did and what he will continue to do as he comes back. I mean, he is only 31 years old, and Steph's a little bit older, and he's showing what he can do playing at an MVP type level. LeBron, obviously, the amount of money that these guys spend on their bodies in the offseason is mind-blowing. But what Klay has shown us on each side of the ball, and to have 3 scoring records that, in my opinion, will probably never be touched, I will forever think that Klay Thompson is the greatest shooter of all time. I know Steph has the record for threes, yada, 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 but for my money and for what I've seen, and from someone who is quite the three-point shooter as well, I will take Klay Thompson over anybody in history. So, we are sticking to sports here. I know this is rarefied air for me. My segment of Weekly Reflections into Hell is going to continue tomorrow, and because I was off a week ago, the mirror is very large when it comes to what's happened over the last couple of weeks. But the one thing that I did want to go into, and I'm going to put up another Instagram post here later today to kind of illustrate to people. It's not really going to be a gloat post. It's not going to be a gloast, but I am going to try to illustrate to people that hot streaks go cold, cold streaks go hot. And as long as you have a system that you have perfected and you've proven to yourself to be a lucrative venture or a lucrative recipe, then continue that, because I've been telling all of the droves and millions of followers that I have that I'm old school. I actually keep an actual notebook. I like to write things out. How else are you going to know where you're at? How else are you going to keep a tally of your success? A lot of people in these times would like to use an Excel sheet where they actually can put how much they won, how much they lost, yada yada yada. I just do units. And that measure of unit is something that I tend to not deviate from, and it tends to be anywhere between 5 to 10% of the overall payroll that I have going towards sports gambling. And so what I want to show you is how staying the course, trusting your instincts, trusting what you have, and doing what's right for you is always going to be the best way. I've said this a couple times before. I will never understand the people who go into this and then they hire a service, or they listen to Daily Wager on ESPN2, and they simply just go off of their picks. Look, if it works for you and you can somehow make some money and have more winners than losers, bravo. I'm very happy for you. But I like doing things on my own. I guess I'm old school in countless ways. But that would be a way that I would encourage someone to do it, because then it's your own. It's your own thing. You're not relying on anyone else. You do your own research. You trust your own instincts. You find what's working. For instance, the Cleveland Cavaliers, holy shit. They are an AT fucking M. They are 12-0 against the spread their last 12 games. The LeBron-less Cavaliers. Not hyperbole, not making this up. They are 12-0 against the spread their last 12 games. They're like the Monmouth Hawks. Monmouth. The only team in college basketball that's undefeated against the spread. I'm going to show you a couple that aren't, but one thing that that I can't encourage it enough. Find something that works for you. Find a system. Find a way that you can consistently find winners and find more winners than losers. Let's chop up some lines. So tomorrow is when the college football finale season, the whatever, the Meineke Care Bowl, I don't even know what it is. The Bahamas Bowl starts actually tomorrow, and that is the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders against the Toledo Rockets. Why are we talking about this? Because Toledo's 8-4 against the spread. The spread right now is 10, and they are a heavy favorite on the money line. Right now, Toledo is minus 380. I like them just because MAC teams, they tend to, from what I've seen over the years, they tend to care more at the end of the year. These guys are playing football for whatever reasons that they are. But I would encourage you to look at Toledo. They've been a juggernaut this year, all things considered, against the spread. So anytime that you have a team that's so lopsided against the spread, that means to me that means that they not only do they know what they're doing, but in terms of against the spread, but Vegas may not have figured them out either. And to get less than 2 touchdowns on a neutral field in the Bahamas against a 6-6 team. Granted, I know Toledo's only 7-5 straight up, but they are 6-6. I'm sorry, they are 8-4 against the spread. I would take a good look at them as well. Speaking of a MAC team, Northern Illinois, the Huskies, are playing Coastal Carolina in the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl. Northern Illinois was 8-4-1 against the spread, while Coastal Carolina was 6-6. Now, Coastal last year was a much more well-rounded team, and they were a juggernaut against the spread. And so Vegas obviously figured them out. And Coastal's an 11-point favorite on this one. I would just when it comes to these games, the MAC tends to show up more. It means more. And so maybe take a look at Northern Illinois, and you're catching almost 2 touchdowns. And so I think that would be a good lean as well. Let's transition over to college hoops, because there's one team that I need you guys to be aware of. Well, there's a couple. So we're going to start here. So I've mentioned this before. Last year it was Hofstra. The year before it was Drake. I believe Drake started the year 18-3 against the spread. They were an absolute ATM. This year they're 1-8. Now, that tells me that Vegas doesn't want that thing to happen again. They kind of want to try to retain the money that they lost from 2 years ago. Now, they're at home tonight against Jackson State. I know, Jackson State. I get it. Jackson State hasn't played a home game yet, because I believe there's something with COVID, or there's something with some kind of a reason as to why they can't do that. They scored 37 points against Iowa State, but they also only let up 47. And so and Iowa State, I believe, is ranked. And so they're catching 17 points here tonight. And look, I'm not saying that you should put your life savings on Jackson State, but I'm saying if Drake is 1-8 against the spread, some teams just don't cover. Now they're 6-4 straight up, so they're a 500 ball club. And Jackson State actually comes in with a little bit of steam because they've covered against Iowa State, they've covered against Illinois State, they got blown out by Marquette, they covered against Northern Illinois, and they covered against Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. 17 points is a lot of points with a team that's only covered once. A team that's 1-8 against the spread is catching 17 points, and 60% of the money is on them. Take a good look at Jackson State this evening. Another thing that I want you to look at as well, and I know you tuned in on a Thursday when there's Thursday night football of a fantastic game, and I'm talking Jackson State against Drake. Welcome to the Social Spreader. There is an interesting matchup here tonight. It's Chicago State against IUPUI. IUPUI is 1-8. They are 1-2 at home. Chicago State's 3-7. However, they are 7-3 against the spread. IUPUI is 2-6, and they are not a very good squad, obviously, since they've only won one. And you can get Chicago State and the points. That's a good lean in my book. To lean Chicago State, you got 3 points in your pocket, and you're playing a team that's 2-6 against the spread. Another team that's been very interesting this year, the second highest against the spread tally in the country, Alcorn State. They are 1-8 straight up, but they are 8-1 against the spread, and they are playing Tulsa tonight. Tulsa's 5-5 straight up and against the spread, and they're catching 16 points. Again, I'm not saying that you should put your life savings on a team like Alcorn State, but what I am saying is that 16 points in your pocket with a team that's 8-1 against the spread, I feel pretty happy with that one. The other team that's been very good to me this year is Charleston. The Charleston Cougars. They are 7-3 straight up and 7-3 against the spread. They are playing Stetson this evening. And the last 4 games that Stetson has played Division I opponents, they are 0-4. They are 2-2 at home. They're 3-6 straight up, but they're 1-4-2 against the spread. So they're not covering. College of Charleston is, and they only need to win by 6. I think Charleston's a good lean here this evening. The card for NBA is pretty limited. Hockey, I've really been getting pucked and not in the good way, so I'm going to be staying away from that for just a while. I kind of got to recalibrate what's been going on. I just think that when such a high-profile NFL game is on, a lot of the attention, a lot of the focus is over there, and sometimes Vegas gets a little lazy. And I do believe that these four college hoops games this evening, I think we got some pretty good leans. And either way, no matter what action that you have here tonight, thanks for listening today. Good luck with your bets.